What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Come on in, come on in, come on in. All right. Well, getting this party started. Now, we're gonna be talking for a minute. Okay. All right. What's up, you guys? We are gonna be here we're gonna be here a long, long time, but we got a little bit to go through today. We are here to talk about the case against Vince McMahon. Now, for those of you who do not know who Vince McMahon is the former CEO and founder of the WWE, which was formerly WWF. Now, if you are like me, you grew up on WWF. I know I did, right? I'm older, so I grew up on Hulk Hogan and that whole era. And then I sort of rediscovered the WWF when I got a little older with The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, and all of that. So I kind of went through two versions of watching the WWF. Now, I haven't watched WWF/WWE in years, but I used to watch all of it. I remember WrestleMania 1. You know what I mean? Now, over the years, we've heard things about Vince McMahon. At least I have. I've heard things about Vince McMahon. He's a ruthless businessman. He didn't treat his talent fairly. We've heard all of the things. They wanted to unionize and he shut the union down. But unfortunately, we have also heard stories of what we're going to be talking about today. We've heard rumors of these types of stories, right? Well, today, a bombshell lawsuit was filed by a former girlfriend, I guess. We'll get through it. Hey, Ricardo, how you doing, boom? I always believed them allegations from the first female referee was wiped from WWE history. Yeah, this isn't the first time. Thank you, Ranton, with Ricardo. This isn't the first time we've heard these accusations. Yes, Junkyard Dog and the Iron Sheik and what was his name? Lou Albano. Now, y'all want to talk about a politically correct world. If you go back to the early days of WWE, it was WWF then. You want to talk about something that was just not politically correct. None of it was, okay? None of those characters were politically correct. Vince been effing around with women locker rooms for years when he almost went to prison for them steroids. Yeah, see, y'all are dropping it in the chat. Right. And I actually follow a channel on TikTok that Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, yes, remember Macho Man Randy. Like, again, I used to love WWE back then, and I used to look at WCW too, which back then that's where you had Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen and the Road Warriors and stuff like that. I used to love wrestling. So anyway, as you guys come in, I don't want to, I want to say hi to everybody as you guys are coming in. I will read the comments. Please take a seat. If you hit that like button as you come in, please. There's 81 people already here. If you guys can hit the like button, let's make sure we have about 50 to 70 likes. Can we get about 50 to 70 likes? Yes, the cartoon. I remember that. Cyndi Lauper, you had all the wrestlers in her videos, and it was just a lot. It was like, I really feel like that was like the heyday of WWF, and then it went over to WWE, and they merged. Like, all of them just sort of merged together. So a bombshell lawsuit was dropped today, and once again, I want to thank Tracy. Tracy, y'all just don't even know. Tracy was able to pull this lawsuit for me. I just appreciate it. I appreciate it. Okay. Oh wow. Ashley Massaro. I'm gonna have to look that name up. Ricardo. I'm gonna have to look that name up. Ashley Massaro. Okay. Now this lawsuit was filed in Connecticut. You went to WrestleMania when it was in Detroit. Wow. Now I never went to a WrestleMania, but I remember I saw the first WrestleMania, and I've seen a few of them. I used to pay for the pay-per-views back in the day. Again, I used to love wrestling. I used to love wrestling. Okay. Let's get into this lawsuit though, because we're gonna be here for a while. Okay. I'm not going to read the whole thing word for word, but I think it is important that you guys hear the language in the lawsuit. Also, because of the subject matter, because of how sensitive the subject matter is, that I'm not going to be able to. There are certain things I'm going to have to be very creative in how I read it. So you guys, you're just going to have to, y'all know what we got to do. Switch from WWF to WWE was a scam in itself because he went public as WWF. Well, it was a lawsuit. I don't think that was a scam because it was a lawsuit. He got sued because WWF is the Worldwide Foundation. It's a wildlife foundation or something. They were sued. They actually lost the name. So I don't think that was I don't think that was a scam. What he went public as, that might have been lawsuit was settled. I don't know. I would have to look at the timeline. But he actually was legitimately sued by the WWF stands for something wildlife fund. And there it is, World Wildlife Foundation. That's it. There it is. Yeah. They were sued. And they actually owned the WWF name first. Yeah. So I don't think that was a scam. Hey, you guys coming in. Y'all come on in, take a seat. You guys come on in and take a seat. So here's the complaint. And again, shout out to Tracy for pulling this complaint for me. It is Janelle Grant versus World Wrestling Entertainment. And of course, all of the entities under it, including Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis, looks like. So here's the complaint. Janelle Grant, by and through, undersigned counsel, is filing this lawsuit. Here's the introduction. All right, let's get to it. Janelle Grant is a former employee of WWE who was the victim of physical, emotional abuse, SA, and trafficking at WWE. Ms. Grant is filing this lawsuit not just to address her own suffering, but also to act for those who were afraid to speak out. WWE's billionaire founder and executive chairman, defendant Vincent K. McMahon, lived in a penthouse duplex in Ms. Grant's apartment building. The two met in March of 2019 when Ms. Grant was dealing with profound grief and struggling financially. After devoting years of around-the-clock caregiving, her parents passed away. On top of that, she was unemployed and her family home was lost in her parents' bankruptcy. After her family passed away, Ms. Grant dedicated herself to finding gainful employment. Neighbors in her building provided career advice and sought her assistance with personal events. Ms. Grant used these non-paying roles and volunteer work in the community initiatives to build her resume. The building's resident manager wanted to help. She messaged McMahon to ask whether he could talk to her, sharing that Ms. Grant had been through hardship and would do great things if given a fresh start. McMahon enthusiastically responded, "Hell yes." McMahon befriended Ms. Grant, giving her hopes of a new life with promises of a yet-to-be-determined role at WWE and showering her with attention and assurances along with gifts like a VIP experience at WrestleMania. But what seemed like a dream in the spring of 2019 quickly became a nightmare. As McMahon dangled career-making and life-changing promises in front of Ms. Grant, he demonstrated an increasing lack of boundaries. During several meetings that were ostensibly about a potential job at WWE, he greeted her in his underwear, touched her, repeatedly asked for hugs, and spent hours sharing intimate details about his personal life. McMahon warned Grant to keep their closeness secret, lest rumors lead to public trouble, and added that while he protects loyal people, he had world-class legal resources on speed dial to deal with people who became a problem. As such, when McMahon pushed Ms. Grant for a physical relationship in return for long-promised employment at WWE, she felt trapped in an impossible situation, submitting to McMahon's sexual demands or facing ruin. Grant feared she had everything to lose and faced negative consequences no matter what happened. After succumbing to the pressure for a physical relationship, Ms. Grant was slotted into an entry-level position as an administrator coordinator, a position McMahon created for her at WWE's legal department. Ms. Grant began to work in that role in June 17th of 2019. Ms. Grant remained in that role with the exception of a temporary relocation to XFL until McMahon verbally directed her to transfer to the Talent Relations Department, reporting to John Laurinaitis, who was also a defendant, on March the 9th, 2021. During a conversation that same day, McMahon explained that her presence in the legal department was effectively delaying efforts to hire a new general counsel for the company. McMahon and Laurinaitis informed Ms. Grant that she would be promoted to Vice President of Operations in the Talent Relations Department, providing her with an organizational chart reflecting this decision. Shortly thereafter, they informed her that they needed her to begin a lower level as a director, but promised her a promotion to Vice President after a 12-month period. Despite Ms. Grant's expressions of unhappiness and attempts to end the sexual relationship, and while she came to understand that McMahon expected the physical relationship to continue as part of her employment, she had no idea how sordid it would become, nor how the psychological torture and physical violence would leave her feeling helpless, isolated, and trapped. In March of 2020, McMahon began sharing explicit photographs and videos of Ms. Grant, including pornographic content he recorded with other men both inside and outside of the company, including with members of the television production team, executive producers, and world-famous athlete and former UFC champion with whom WWE was actively trying to sign to a new contract and ultimately did sign. Given McMahon's omnipotent position as WWE, coercion was inherent in his increasingly depraved and sexual demands. Specifically, while McMahon was CEO of WWE and Ms. Grant was employed as an entry-level coordinator in the legal department, McMahon recruited individuals to have sexual relations with Ms. Grant and or with the two of them, directed Ms. Grant to visit defendant Laurinaitis prior to the start of workdays for these encounters, and expected and directed Ms. Grant to engage in sexual activity at the WWE headquarters, even during working hours. Okay, I'm going to take a pause. Let me come back to the chat. Let me see what y'all are talking about, because like I said, we got a lot to get through. That's Brock Lesnar. Okay. Will one of these people be Kevin Dunn? I don't know. I don't know. Is this the paralegal he gifted to John Laurinaitis? Sounds like it might be. Sounds like it might be. Okay. Right, Abby, right. On your lunch break, child. Okay, let me go back to this. Let me keep going. At this time, McMahon ordered Ms. Grant to keep their relationship secret unless otherwise instructed, including lying to maintain whatever cover story he fabricated. McMahon's assurances that Ms. Grant was safe and independent rang hollow in light of his efforts to isolate her from friends and attempts to chip away at her identity until it was replaced with his desired role for her as his bitch, his fantasy, and or his porn star, while occasionally intermixing softer descriptors like girlfriend and baby, even love when convenient. He exercised complete ownership and control over both her personal and professional life. McMahon also subjected Ms. Grant to acts of extreme cruelty and degradation that caused Ms. Grant to disassociate and or become numb to reality in order to survive the horrific encounter. One example of McMahon's extreme depravity: on May 9th, 2020. He defecated on Ms. Grant during a threesome and then commanded her to continue. That's just nasty. I'm not even going to read the rest of what that description is. Y'all can I'm just scroll right on past that. Upon his return from the bathroom, McMahon and his friend actively resumed The threesome, which lasted over an hour and a half. Oh, okay, I'm going to keep scrolling past that. What up, sis? Yeah, I'm going to just keep scrolling. Y'all can just, yeah. All I'm going to say is this. He went to the bathroom to freshen up. She did not. And y'all can use your imagination on the rest of it. In June of 2021, McMahon and defendant Laurinaitis sexually assaulted Ms. Grant inside of Laurinaitis' office at the WWE headquarters while colleagues were busy at their desks. Behind a locked door, the two men cornered her, pulled her in between them, forcibly touched her before ultimately putting her on top of the table. She begged them to stop, but they forced themselves on her, each taking turns, restraining her for the other while saying no means yes and take it, bitch. Unsurprisingly, others at WWE knew what was going on, but instead of intervening to protect Miss Grant, WWE actively sought to conceal the wrongdoing. In January 2022, McMahon told Grant that his wife had found out about their relationship. Purportedly to avoid divorce, negative publicity, and other repercussions, McMahon and at that time, Miss Grant, McMahon said that Miss Grant's time at WWE was at an end, but that he wanted her to sign an NDA to ensure her silence, among other things, his personal misconduct. I didn't know that Vince McMahon was still married to his wife in 2022. I thought they had been divorced, but okay. In the days ahead, McMahon put Ms. Grant under immense pressure to sign anything that refusing would not only jeopardize McMahon's family and company, but that she'd surely become a public headline, suffer reputational ruin, including from the content McMahon had captured, and face McMahon's legal resources. Conversely, McMahon reassured her that her signature would ensure his continued support and protection and safeguard her reputation. Ultimately, Ms. Grant succumbed to the pressure and signed the NDA in exchange for payments, which McMahon later stopped making. Now that's interesting. Okay. Even after pushing Ms. Grant out of the company and muzzling her with an NDA, McMahon continued efforts to exploit her, including attempting to traffic her to a WWE star who would be in New York City for a live event and taping in March of 2022. Understandably, defendant's predatory conduct has left Ms. Grant crippled both physically and mentally, including from debilitating symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder and suicidal ideations. These symptoms led to her termination from her subsequent job running her building's operations due to her inability to leave her home for weeks at a time. Despite McMahon's promise of reputational protection, WWE appears to have leaked information that led to the public disclosure of her name by a media blogger who cited a source with direct knowledge of the situation, which upon information and belief was an overt intimidation tactic aimed at Ms. Grant. So maybe that's what you were talking about, Ricardo. Maybe that's what you were talking about. WWE also attempted to sweep the matter under the rug. Following media reports that McMahon was involved in a hush money payment scandal, WWE released a statement in June of 2022 to announce that a special committee of its board of directors was investigating the alleged misconduct and appointing Stephanie McMahon as interim CEO and interim chairwoman. Now, I remember that happening. And this, as a matter of fact, I think I reported on it on my channel. In this capacity, Ms. McMahon publicly affirms her commitment to doing everything in her power to help the special committee complete its work and to implement its findings. She also declared the importance of a safe and collaborative workspace. Notwithstanding this public statement, the investigation was a sham. In November of 2022, WWE touted the conclusion of the special committee investigation, yet the special committee never even bothered to interview Ms. Grant or request any documents despite Ms. Grant stating that she would cooperate. In SEC filings, the company tried to divert attention away from McMahon's abuse of women, focusing on the technical issue of how hush money was accounted for. In the words of the company, the issue was immaterial accounting errors relating to certain payments that Mr. McMahon agreed to make during the period from 2006 through 2022. Through all of this trauma, Ms. Grant has endured profound suffering in silence, feeling of exploitation, loss of security, and the fear that facing the wrath of WWE and McMahon's army of attorneys if she were to come forward and bring light to the acts detailed herein. The time has passed, and Ms. Grant seeks to hold defendants accountable for their reprehensible and unlawful acts for her own sake and for others. Ms. Grant seeks a declaratory judgment that her NDA is invalid under federal and state laws and asserts claims other laws, including the Trafficking Victims Protection Act. Okay. So then it just talks about parties, which, just lists all the different parties. And then it talks about the non-party officers, employees. All right. Then it's about the jurisdiction and venue. Now, here's where it's going to, that was already explicit, you guys, but now we're going to get into the factual allegations. If you guys remember, when we read through the Cassie documents and some of the other law documents, this is where it really breaks it all down. So again, I'm going to try to be very sensitive in how I read through these documents, but I want to be very clear before we go any further. Again, it was already explicit. I tried to be as sensitive as I could, but here's where she's going to get very specific with the specific dates and times and people and events. So I want to be very clear at this time, okay? All right. If you haven't done so already, please hit that like button. It's 134 of y'all in the chat. If you guys could please hit the like button. There's still some seats down front. Y'all come on down. It's a reason why Linda and Vince have been separated for years. Yeah, so okay. Vince should have retired and passed the company down a long time ago. His ego would be the downfall. Endeavor needs to take him down. Yeah. All right, you guys. Okay. Hold on. Let me take a sip, child. I'm out dry. Yeah, we remember the sad story of China, child. Okay. Oh, let me take this down. All right, let's go. Okay. Part 1, Ms. Grant's history with McMahon, Laurinaitis, and WWE. These are the factual allegations. Again, these are allegations. These are her allegations. Ms. Grant's introduction to McMahon turns into a 2-hour meeting between a potential entry-level employee and a billionaire CEO. Prior to having any involvement with WWE, Ms. Grant was dealing with profound grief following the loss of her parents, whom she cared for full-time as their sole caretaker. Now, some of this stuff is going to repeat. Yeah. I'm going to skip through some of it that we already read. During this time, Ms. Grant often ran into McMahon's 2 personal assistants in her building, one of whom was a former grade school classmate. Ms. Grant's closest friend in the building was the resident manager. That individual is referred to herein as resident manager. Similar in personality, Ms. Grant and the RM, I'm going to just say RM for resident manager, bonded over stories of adversity as they coordinated community initiatives in the building together. The resident manager was aware of Ms. Grant's efforts to obtain employment. Okay, we read that already. Ahead of the meeting, the RM advised Ms. Grant to be energetic as McMahon is big on energy and talk to McMahon no differently than she talks to him or her. On or about March 23rd of 2019, Ms. Grant arrived for the meeting in McMahon's condo with additionally printed copies of her resume and black notepad and thank you cookies. Sitting in his dining room table, McMahon looked at Ms. Grant's resume, complimented both her communication skills and common sense before discussing little but their personal lives. For example, Ms. Grant told McMahon about her hardship that led to the resident manager's office to seek help, describing losing her parents and her family's bankruptcy. McMahon shared stories about his upbringing, his traumatic childhood, growing up in poverty, his current family dynamics, including his separation from Linda, described as his ex and long gone. He added his marital status as an arrangement on paper for business purposes and that he lives a quiet, isolated existence outside of the WWE. At the end of the meeting, at the end of the meeting, McMahon told Ms. Grant that he didn't just want to give her a job, but give her a life, and that he would find a place for her at WWE. Stunned, Ms. Grant said she didn't know how to thank him for possibly just changing my life. McMahon responded that one simple thank you is enough and that he'd accept a big hug, and they embraced. McMahon then told Grant that he'd get the ball rolling, on next steps, but it was a busy time of year as WWE prepared for WrestleMania, explaining that it was their Super Bowl. He then invited Ms. Grant to attend as his guest along with the resident manager and added that he would personally select their seats so that they would have the best possible experience. McMahon advised her that his office would reach out to help her set up a meeting with a trusted official, the WWE corporate officer number 2 at headquarters. After asking if her cell was the best number to reach her, McMahon shared his personal phone number with her and walked her to the door, again hugging her while whispering, "So good." On March the 31st of 2019, the day before Ms. Grant was scheduled to meet with the corporate officer, McMahon unexpectedly invited Ms. Grant to come back to his condo for pointers on her meeting. When she arrived, McMahon gave her a huge embrace and suggested that they sit on the couch. It quickly became clear that McMahon had no intention of giving her pointers for the interview, except for a single direction. If the topic comes up during her meeting, Ms. Grant would state they met through a mutual friend. During this meeting, McMahon described a surgery that he had on his knee by touching Ms. Grant's leg and drawing a line where the surgery had taken place with his finger. He stated that similar to having an injury, Ms. Grant cannot let scar tissue build up inside her from trauma as her vulnerability is a gift. McMahon explained that people are intimidated around him and are afraid to touch him. McMahon added that he is an affectionate person who likes to hug and starves for physical affection. McMahon then led Ms. Grant on tour of his condo before hugging her goodbye again, whispering, "Feels so good." Okay. On April the 1st, 2019, Ms. Grant met with WWE corporate officer number 2 at headquarters for a short time. The corporate officer hardly asked any questions, saying that he was figuring out where Ms. Grant will be placed and then promised to be in touch after WrestleMania. Later that day, Ms. Grant texted McMahon and enthusiastically described her meeting with the corporate officer. She also commented on a dinosaur skull that she saw on McMahon's office wall, prompting his response, "By the way, if you're a bad girl, the T-Rex will eat you." Oh. Followed by, "Seriously, Janelle, wherever you land at WWE, you will be a credit to the organization." On April the 7th, Ms. Grant and the resident manager were provided a VIP experience at WrestleMania, including private transportation and a black SUV arranged by McMahon. Per McMahon's instructions, Ms. Grant diligently took notes about her impressions. Her first time attending such an event, Ms. Grant left overwhelmed with emotion and feeling hopeful that everything McMahon promised was becoming a reality. Over the next several weeks, McMahon invited Ms. Grant to his condo on several occasions, each time assuring her that he would find the right position for her at WWE. So, you know, let me pause for a second. Let me come back to the chat. Let me pause for a second. So it seems like, you know, that maybe she was thought that they were building something, right? They met up a few times, they talked a few times. Everything he promised her at this point was happening. He promised her the interview, she got the interview. He promised her the job, she got the job. Okay, Tracy said we only have 84 likes. Can we get over 100, please? Can we get 16 more people to like the video, please? And thank you. Y'all know the more likes pushes the algorithm, pushes me up and sends more people. The more y'all like the video, the more YouTube sends people to me. So please like the video. It's a free way to support the channel. And if you are new here, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and do that. We're almost at 15,500 subscribers. We need 18 more subscribers to be at 15,500 subscribers. So let's do that. Let's do both of those things tonight. Can we do it? Let's try it. Okay. For each meeting with McMahon, Ms. Grant bought simple job descriptions. Ms. Grant bought sample job descriptions she found online to review with him and demonstrate the types of roles she might fit in. McMahon listened to Ms. Grant, asked her questions, and pointed out qualities that he described as rare gifts, including her goodness, vivaciousness, childlike innocence, and ability to be vulnerable, all things that make her an easy target. McMahon also initiated long physical embraces with Ms. Grant, repeatedly telling her that he trusted her and that he could be himself around her, and how he'd opened his home to her. During one visit to the condo in late April of 2019, McMahon did not greet Ms. Grant when she entered, but instead called her to his master walk-in closet. As soon as she turned the corner, McMahon emerged from his bathroom wearing only briefs. Shocked, Ms. Grant turned around and apologized as McMahon laughed and asked her to turn around. He then handed her a shirt and asked her for help with the buttons. McMahon reminded her that he was working hard on her role and said he felt good about her taking care of him. Her taking care of him. Around that time, McMahon also told Ms. Grant that he would never forget how helpless she looked when they first met, and that he wanted to wrap his arms around her and assured her that everything is going to be okay and that Ms. Grant's problems were in the past. McMahon also told Ms. Grant that he viewed her as a true friend. However, McMahon advised Ms. Grant that people at WWE could never know about their closeness, or else rumors would spawn and threaten them, particularly due to Ms. Grant's physical beauty. McMahon also emphasized that the circumstances would jeopardize the company. Around this time, he mentioned that he had an attorney on speed dial whom he described as the best of the best at making problems, including people who became problems, go away. On April the 21st of 2019, McMahon unexpectedly invited Ms. Grant to his condo to provide her with an update. Upon her arrival, McMahon assured her he was a man of his word, that his office would be in touch with her soon with the right role. As she turned to leave, McMahon grabbed a large black electric massager and told Ms. Grant to turn around for a demonstration. He quickly moved to rubbing his hands on her upper back before reminding her that she would hear from his office about next steps in a day or two. 2 days later, Ms. Grant was contacted about further meetings at WWE. A week later, she met with two high-ranking human resource employees. Both of the okay. I was trying to skip it, but let me just go ahead and read it. She met with two high-ranking human resource employees, referred to herein as human resource employee number 1 and human resource employee number 2, respectfully. Both human resource employees provided Ms. Grant with their impressions about company culture at WWE and confirmed the ball was in their court to figure out where she would best fit. On May the 5th, damn, he ain't found a job for her yet. On May the 5th, Ms. Grant visited McMahon's condo again, and the topic of bucket list came up. during which Ms. Grant expressed that she would always dreamed of attending the Belmont Stakes. McMahon responded that he would personally acquire 2 tickets for her, which Ms. Grant said she could not accept. McMahon then stood up from his chair, knelt in front of her chair where Ms. Grant was seated, blocking her from standing. He leaned close to Ms. Grant and told her to kiss him. Ms. Grant paused and gave McMahon a kiss on the cheek, to which McMahon sighed and said, "That's not what I meant." After McMahon walked off to his bedroom and said that he wanted Ms. Grant, she swiftly rejected his advances and tried to reason with him that he was putting her in a bad position. Ms. Grant pled with McMahon to stop and think about what he was doing. McMahon then begged repeatedly simply to hold her. Out of fear for her employment and his earlier implied threats about his legal team dealing with problems, Ms. Grant laid down in the bed next to McMahon, kept her hands clasped and ankles crossed, as she acquiesced in saying that he could only hold her but nothing more. When Ms. Grant tried to make small talk about WWE storylines, McMahon suggested she watch the next episode of Monday Night Raw and text him before the broadcast. After she agreed, he forcibly kissed her and began pulling down the strap of her sweater. Ms. Grant then sat up, said she needed to leave and had a lot to process, and left. The next day, Ms. Grant watched the show as promised and texted McMahon to wish him well. She was shocked when he appeared on the show and texted back in the middle of the live broadcast, "That was a very nice message. It made me smile." On May 9, 2019, McMahon texted Ms. Grant that she will have a job at WWE by Friday. The next day, Human Resources called to inform her that the WWE corporate officer would contact her at 4 p.m. to discuss a legal role. After her call with WWE corporate office, Ms. Grant sent McMahon a thumbs up text message to indicate the call went well. Oh, Lord. Okay, she got the job. Let me keep going, child. She got the job. I'm sorry, y'all. I got to scroll through some of this. He invited her to his condo, asked her to lay in bed with him before informing her he had ordered the corporate office to ask her to offer her the job, even though a job description had not been firmed up. There seemed to be a conflict between the one. He could know about her, but he appeared at point. Okay, here we go. Okay. Oh, Lord, I guess we finally here. I guess he finally made his advance. While incredibly excited to finally receive long-awaited employment and financial security, Ms. Grant expressed to McMahon there seemed to be a conflict between his doing things and his warning Ms. Grant that no one could know about their closeness. He appeared amused with this, replying, "It's my company." McMahon then undressed down to his briefs while Ms. Grant remained clothed, and he began kissing Ms. Grant and inserting his hands into her pants without consent. He got 2 tickets to the Belmont Stakes. She received her offer letter with a salary of $75,000. Okay, she got a job. McMahon stated that outside of his attorney, WWE employee number one was the most feared figure at the company because WWE employee number one usually fired employees. Beyond that, he offered little detail about number one's role. Instead, he focused on his personal traumas, explaining that similar to Ms. Grant, WWE employee number one had no family, their spouse passed away, and that the McMahons were his or her surrogate family. During the May 18th, 2019 encounter, Ms. Grant felt coerced into engaging in sexual activity and that McMahon had trapped her in an impossible situation as she feared adverse career and personal consequences and legal retaliation if she declined his advances. McMahon stated, "This is what I have been waiting for," as he performed oral sex on Ms. Grant. Ms. Grant asked that protection be used, and McMahon responded there was no need to worry because he was clean. Feeling that she was being used for his gratification, Ms. Grant went numb and was unable to make eye contact. McMahon then flipped her on his back and said, okay, jack him off. Disturbed by the non-consensual sexual encounter, she hoped that McMahon would cease his advances, but his advances continued and left her to fulfill his demands and lose her job. Let me go back to the chat, yeah. Vince McMahon, not Vince McMahon clean. Where you been, young, rich, skinny? Hey. Hey, boo. John is Bella's stepdad. Bella, isn't she a wrestler, Dolores? Isn't Bella one of the wrestlers? Right, the job. Okay. Woo, I had to take a break, y'all. Okay, let me go back. I want to check the chat. All right, I hope we got over 100 likes. There's 153 people in the room. I hope we got over 100 likes. Okay. On June the 16th of 2019, the day before starting with WWE, Ms. Grant attempted to shut down any further physical contact or sexual encounters by admitting to McMahon her unhappiness and concern starting her first ever job. Dang, this the first job she ever had? How she have a resume if she ain't never had no job? That's interesting. Okay. In his legal department, no less. While in a physical relationship, maybe she met her first job with them. In a physical relationship with the chairman and CEO, she requested they end any physical relationship while remaining friends to avoid any risk to either of them. McMahon refused, saying that he was not ending it, didn't need to, and that he did not ever envision it ending. Damn. He reminded her that he trusted her, reiterated the rumors would lead to trouble, probed whether her silence would be an issue, and brushed off her concerns that she was struggling with the feeling that her job felt unearned. McMahon told Ms. Grant that all she needed to do was not tell anyone and that it has to look legit. McMahon then spun the conversation and told Ms. Grant to focus on the positives and embrace that her life was about to change, saying, isn't that what you've always wanted? McMahon manipulatively emphasized that she's about to start an adventure and gain a new family with the WWE as a surrogate for the family that she had lost. Ultimately, Ms. Grant's unsuccessful attempt to end further unwanted physical contact quickly taught her that her view on this matter was not relevant. Okay. Let me scroll through a little bit, y'all. Hold on. Let me see if I can skip some of this. Give me a second. She reported for her first day. She was immediately surprised that there was not much work for her to do. Her phone only overflowed with controlling and sexually charged text messages from the chairman and CEO, reminding her both of McMahon's power and ever-present surveillance. She said nobody knew what title she had. Well, she already said it was a made-up job, child. She said she didn't even meet her boss until her second week at the job. She said employee number one, that's her boss, was a lively individual who frequently regaled the legal department with stories of others at WWE. If McMahon's name was mentioned, the employer, her boss would look at her with a smile, point her finger, and say, she knows what I'm talking about. Okay. She said that her and her boss bonded quickly. As McMahon predicted, Ms. Grant, referred to as partner, was taught words to live by, including, we do what's in the best interest of the company, we protect the business, and if McMahon wants something, the answer isn't no, but rather, how do we make it happen? WWE employee number 2 also impressed Ms. Grant that job titles don't mean anything for members of McMahon's inner circle, which she was clearly considered to be a part of. She said he was seldom in his office. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Based on her hiring alone, WWE corporate officer number 4 was on notice that there was something different about her, namely her connection to McMahon. As Ms. Grant feared and had expressed to McMahon, she was unhappy that a spotlight was unnecessarily put on her before she ever even set foot in the office. Ms. Grant immediately noticed that WWE corporate officer was warm with other colleagues but cold toward her. She was sent over to the XFL. She said shortly after that, corporate officer number 1 behavior shifted from cold to hostile. If Ms. Grant walked into a room while WWE corporate officer number 4 was laughing with colleagues, their expression would immediately change, become blank, and they would walk away. She said that they were walking towards each other in the hallway. Corporate officer number 1 stopped and changed directions. Ooh, ooh. From all of this, Ms. Grant started to experience panic attacks in the office on a near daily basis that left her physically drained. She could not hide the physical symptoms of these attacks and texted her friend, the resident manager, "You should see the way people look at me when I'm having an attack." But while her coworkers noticed, no one dared get involved. Okay. All right, now we're moving into the next section. McMahon's coercive control tactics to sexualize and dehumanize Ms. Grant. In the summer of 2019, McMahon's presence was all-consuming in Ms. Grant's life. In the office, she felt monitored as if she was surrounded by allies of McMahon, which led to continued daily panic attacks. Outside of the office, McMahon sexualized her entirely. He no longer referred to her as friend and largely stopped talking to Ms. Grant outside of sexting and fantasy talk. Any non-sexual texts related to life and or work were either ignored or given token responses like okay or yep. McMahon was adamant about having Ms. Grant send him explicit photographs, impressing upon her it was part of her sexuality. Given that control McMahon had over Ms. Grant's employment, she felt compelled to comply and sent the photographs to McMahon's mobile device. Ms. Grant was routinely assured that the photographs that she was providing to McMahon were to remain private and were part of their secret world. McMahon began to degrade Ms. Grant, calling her his bitch, while hinting at a fascination with having other people watch them engage in sexual activity. Additionally, this complaint details encounters during which McMahon caused Ms. Grant to sustain physical injuries, including bleeding and pain from forceful use of sex toys. Despite Ms. Grant's plea to ease any further sexual activity, the number of sexual encounters increased, as did McMahon's physical aggression. McMahon's most notably, McMahon's most aggressive when using certain sex toys that he named after male wrestlers and perform. He named his sex toys. He named his sex toys. Okay, he named his sex toys, child. He named the sex toy so that the color of the toy matched the race of the wrestler. For example, a black dildo would be named after an African American wrestler. A white dildo will be named after, we get it. Okay, got it. McMahon's infatuation with pretending that other men, namely certain WWE talent, were in the room with them. This was yet another incremental step in desensitizing Miss Grant to his fantasy. Eventually demands that she perform sexual acts for and or have sexual contact with others within WWE. During a David versus Goliath wrestling match in 2019, Ms. Grant shared with McMahon her thoughts on the event, the draw of rooting for the underdog, and ideas for future events. McMahon complimented her creative input. She believed she was being taken seriously. That is, until McMahon named a dildo after a smaller wrestler and attempted to sexualize the situation. Ciao. By fall of 2019, McMahon frequently pressed for pornographic videos and more explicit content. When Ms. Grant expressed apprehension with his request, McMahon responded with assurances that she could trust him or questioned why she didn't trust him. McMahon also took care to remind her of his power and influence, such as flaunting a meeting with the Saudi crown prince in 2019. In addition to her panic attacks, Ms. Grant began experiencing severe physical, mental, and emotional symptoms, including sleep disruptions, dizziness, exhaustion, rashes, weight loss, hair loss, and migraines. In November of 2019, Ms. Grant informed McMahon that her doctor suggested that her symptoms stemmed from trauma and ongoing stress. McMahon mocked her emotional trauma, my ass. However, in November 20th of 2019, McMahon insisted that Ms. Grant see a physician of his choosing. This physician is referred to herein as celebrity doctor, and the facility that celebrity doctor operated from is referred to as alternative clinic. McMahon and celebrity doctor assured Grant that her bills and alternative clinic would be taken care of under McMahon's account. After the initial visit, it became apparent to Ms. Grant that McMahon and celebrity doctor wanted her to remain in the care of the celebrity doctor. The celebrity doctor made comments about how they had saved her life, and the celebrity doctor often remarked how Ms. Grant was unable to even make eye contact during their initial sessions, and those were obviously signs of trauma. Ms. Grant acknowledged to having a relationship with McMahon during visits with the celebrity doctor, who gave little reaction except telling her there were many different paths to God and love. What? How God get in this? Celebrity doctor lavished attention, treatments, and products on Ms. Grant, all of which were paid for under McMahon's account. Ms. Grant was never provided with any receipts. When Ms. Grant inquired about certain treatments provided, celebrity doctor challenged her on whether she trusted them and postured that if she didn't trust them, then she should just part ways right now. At the onset of her care, each session lasted up to 1 hour. Ms. Grant would leave feeling exhausted from the doctor's deep dives into her personal and work life. Okay. On January 30th of 2020, WWE issued a press release announcing that the company's co-president, George Barrows, and Michelle Wilson were departing the company and would no longer serve as the board of directors. A significant drop in WWE's stock price followed. The company announced that Frank Riddick, a board of directors member for more than 11 years, will be the interim CFO and report directly to McMahon. On February the 3rd, McMahon sent a message to Grant advising her that he had been made aware that there were a lot of rumors circulating about them. McMahon warned Ms. Grant that rumors were not good for either of them. And then on February 10th, without any advance warning, Ms. Grant was temporarily relocated to the XFL workforce. Ms. Grant, having been desperate to escape the feeling of being trapped in her existence, applied to remain with the XFL, or her existence in WWE, applied to remain with the XFL. She openly vocalized her desire to remain there to colleagues, even referring to her state of work at WWE as nothingness, and she sought permission to make the change official before informing McMahon days after this, during which time she had finally told McMahon about her application to remain with the XFL. Her request was denied. In the weeks that followed, McMahon's warnings about rumors and direction to Ms. Grant to play dumb. He began showing explicit photos of Ms. Grant to people both inside and outside of the company. So how you gonna tell her to be quiet, but you showing pictures of her naked? On March the 26th, McMahon sent a lengthy message to Ms. Grant describing in detail the circumstances surrounding sharing explicit photographs of Ms. Grant to former WWE referee. McMahon described how the WWE referee left to masturbate and told Ms. Grant that she made a perfect stranger very happy. What? Ms. Grant initially dismissed this as mere fantasy talk, believing that McMahon would not actually do such a reckless thing. But then she voiced apprehension about McMahon sharing naked photos of her with someone she did not know. McMahon's response was not to comfort her, but to assure her of the WWE referee's loyalty to him. This sharing of explicit photos terrified Ms. Grant as it illustrated McMahon's sheer lack of self-control, and it further panicked her that these private and intimate photos, which included her face, were being shared with complete strangers. On March the 30th of 2020, McMahon enthusiastically messaged Ms. Grant that WWE referee has showed a friend a naked photo of Ms. Grant, which marked the beginning of McMahon sharing Ms. Grant's naked pictures with others who he encouraged to share with friends. What? Hold on, let me take a pause right there. This is crazy. Y'all, this is crazy. So now he's just going around showing people these pictures. Ciao. Now, she actually included text messages, so I haven't read the text messages, so we're going to see what the text messages say, but she did include in her evidence text messages, so we'll see what they said. On March the 31st of 2020, Ms. Grant expressed concern to McMahon that she had no intention of having sex with these strangers and requested McMahon make that message clear, as she felt threatened and distressed by the responses her pictures were getting. She made it clear that she did not want any perception of her moving beyond the point of mere fantasy. Shortly after, McMahon surprised Ms. Grant with news that he had protected her job from a furlough that WWE would immediately announce. The furlough affected a large number of employees, and McMahon emphasized that he personally made sure she would not be one of them, reinforcing her dependency on him, particularly after a majority of the support staff in the legal department, all hired prior to her, were furloughed. McMahon became the most important figure in Ms. Grant's life as he meticulously asserted power and control over almost every aspect of it. Ms. Grant's fears intensified over the consequences that could result from McMahon's actions, particularly by sharing her naked pictures. She became paranoid, completely dependent on, and worshipfully devoted to McMahon, as he in turn pressed forward and exerting his power over Ms. Grant as he saw fit. All right, now here's where it gets into the trafficking. In May of 2020, McMahon recruited an individual whom he manipulatively referred to as his friend to engage in a threesome with McMahon and Grant. The friend turned out to be McMahon's physical therapist and alternative clinic, as he referred to herein as physical therapist. To induce Miss Grant's participation in the threesome, McMahon began referring to Miss Grant as his girlfriend and sent her large bouquets of flowers. Nevertheless, on May the 8th of 2020, Miss Grant expressed apprehension about participating in the threesome. In response, McMahon insisted that the plans were already made and suggested he would lose a friendship if she did not go through with it. On the day of the threesome, Miss Grant showed up to the condo, but reiterated that she did not want to go through with the act. She expressed fear of being thrown around like a rag doll by McMahon and the physical therapist. After Miss Grant clearly stated she wanted to back out, McMahon responded by telling her for the first time that he loved her and stunning her into silence. McMahon's manipulative tactics resulted in the outcome he wanted, and he led her down the stairs to his bedroom where the physical therapist was already waiting to begin the threesome. Early in the encounter, McMahon immediately directed Ms. Grant to lay down on his back while straddling. Okay, we got it. All right. Following the threesome on May 11th, McMahon sent an explicit message to Ms. Grant that further detailed his fantasies of seeing her engaged in sexual relations. So here's a copy of the text. It says, "I love it. That's you, Janelle. You just can't get enough, can you? In the future, it's going to be so bad that you'll demand to be effed twice a day and not just with blank in a three-way. Why not let others see the beautiful, voluptuous body and watch you shake uncontrollably when you come? They'll go out of their minds. Then they'll find more friends and will tie you up so you're helpless. I'll direct them to have their way any way they want. Who can make you scream the loudest? Maybe I'll just line them up and have them squirt in your mouth." Okay, it gets real explicit, y'all. You'll be covered in, you know what? We'll make you eat it and taste everybody. The next morning, you'll be a little sore, but you're still going to want more. Y'all. McMahon then pressured Miss Grant into several additional threesomes, in large part because she felt she had no other choice, particularly after McMahon's comments that he had personally ensured that she had not lost her job. Her subsequent run-ins with the physical therapist at the alternative clinic also served as a reminder of how much was at stake if she did not obey. McMahon controlled Miss Grant's employment income, paid for her medical care, circulated naked pictures of her, and ignored her lack of consent for the first threesome. Indeed, when text conversations would begin to cross over McMahon's fantasies into reality, Ms. Grant often attempted to avoid physical encounters with the therapist. On September the 23rd of 2020, she told McMahon there was no room for a third body. After the threesomes began, McMahon became more sadistic in his fantasies, focused on control such as choking, sensory deprivation, pain, humiliation, and group scenarios in which Ms. Grant was to be physically overwhelmed and subservient. Here's another text message. Your last picture. You need your panties ripped off and 3 big black dicks in all 3 holes at the same time. Way up your woo-ha and way down your wah-wah as far as they will go, but even further. And then the thickest will go down your throat so it makes you gag and convulse as those big black blank pound away. It feels like from the start you're being assaulted, but it's made you come nonstop. Just one continuous, constant orgasm. And just before you pass out, y'all, I can't even read this stuff. Like, I'm giving you, That's the best. I can't even read all of that. I just can't. I'm sorry. I can't. Child, I might have to put this video on members only or something because this is crazy, y'all. On one occasion, he instructed Miss Grant, do not knock on the door because if I see you, I will RAP you in the hallway. To leave no doubt regarding the dynamic of their relationship, McMahon texted Grant, I'm the only one who owns you and controls you. I want to F you. A theme that was often reiterated throughout their involvement. On June the 17th of 2020, Ms. Grant sent texts to McMahon noting her one-year anniversary, and McMahon ignored her. A month later, McMahon reminded Ms. Grant about their far-reaching results in his texting out explicit content. By now, thousands of men see you every day all over the world, and they all want to F you. Around this time, McMahon openly shared explicit photographs and salacious stories about Ms. Grant with WWE crew at TV tapings, a group McMahon also referred to as her fan club. Indeed, McMahon exuberantly messaged her about a truthful story of having just shared explicit content of her with a group of 12 men on the WWE tech crew and recounted the obscene details he shared with them. So here's another text message, y'all. Let me see what it says. I just passed my phone around to a bunch of the guys on the tech crew. They were screaming, OMG, she's effing beautiful. Look at that ass. I'd like to get that. I paused to count out loud how many guys there were. There were 12. And then I said, okay. There are 12 of you, and she would love to F each and every one of you at one time. The guys cheered, but she will only do it if she takes 3 at a time. That brought a huge reaction. She wants, okay, y'all know what happens with 3 at one time. Okay. Yeah. I can't. Y'all, I can't read all of this. Suffice to say, it's explicit. I can't read all of that. I'm serious. I can't read all of that. Just suffice to say that he went on to talk about her being with 12 men at one time and all the things that could happen. On the occasion, Ms. Grant informed McMahon that she was physically injured during their sexual encounter. McMahon's response varied from apologies to non-accountable pushback and blaming impulse control. When encounters were particularly brutal, Ms. Grant learned to book in the truth of her injuries with compliments to create at least amount of pushback from McMahon. However, Ms. Grant sustained brutal and painful injuries, including bleeding, swelling, bruising, and spans of unconsciousness. Oh, I'm sorry. I made up a whole new word. Incontinence resulting from McMahon's forceful use of his fist, adult toys, and objects unsafe for vaginal insertion. Um. Oh wow. Okay. It just goes on to describe his use of sex toys and things. He said, "It seems I just get carried away." This next section is how he recruited Lauren Tatus, I guess that's his name, into the situation. We almost done, y'all. I know it's a lot. Hold on. I know it's a lot. Okay. During this time, Ms. Grant became so sick from the stress that her weight plummeted to just over 100 pounds. One distressing event occurred in November the 22nd of 2020 when McMahon drove Grant to WWE headquarters to fulfill his fantasy of having a sexual encounter with her in his office, causing Ms. Grant to suffer a panic attack in the passenger seat while pleading with McMahon to change his mind and drive her home. McMahon scoffed and gave her an ultimatum: either have the sexual encounter in his office or inside of the parked car. Terrified, Ms. Grant obeyed his direction and they entered the headquarters. She did not. Okay, more pictures, more photos. On or about December 29, 2020, a threesome was arranged between McMahon, Laurinaitis, and Ms. Grant at McMahon's condo. McMahon instructed her to tell Laurinaitis that she was a neighbor and a girlfriend working in the legal field, but not at WWE. Shortly after meeting him, Grant asked him if she was the first woman whom McMahon had introduced him to in such a setting. He failed to respond and shot her a look directly at McMahon, who quickly intervened by kissing Ms. Grant and initiating the encounter amongst the three of them. Once again, Ms. Grant asked for protection. Once again, her request was denied. In the days that followed, McMahon texted her that Laurinaitis hugged me like a bear and said thank you about 12 times already. He also messaged Grant and said thank you for the fun afternoon. All right, I'm just gonna read about the trafficking part, and then we're gonna stop because I don't know how much more of this I can take. On February the 5th of 2021, McMahon sent Ms. Grant to establish a schedule for when other men, including the physical therapist and Laurinaitis, could have sex with her, which Ms. Grant attempted to rebuff. And so here is another text message. It says, exactly, baby. He's not the only one. Blank called me this afternoon begging to eat you and F you with his nice and hard dick. Give me another week, baby. I'll be ready. I'm feeling more like myself. It's not great, but it's getting better. Tell him soon. I already told him, baby. By the way, Johnny wants Tuesdays, but not this coming one, and the occasional Saturday, but maybe I can shift it to Thursday nights. Johnny would like all of the above. Wow. Okay. Let me scroll down. Hold on, y'all. Okay. McMahon indicated that Grant should obey if Laurinaitis wanted to bring more men. Here's another text message. Maybe he wants 2 other guys to join you with him. Holy shit, you've told him you would do anything with him. So if he surprised you with 2 men, you would have no alternative than to take them on. OMG, the stories you could tell me then. It makes me want to come right now. By the way, I just thought of what I think is an excellent idea. Maybe you can hint that if he knows someone who can be discreet, it might be better if you and Johnny try them out first so he can get more comfortable before he is introduced to me. Actually, it makes total sense, doesn't it? In April 2021, WWE Senior Vice President of Human Resources was fired. That same month, McMahon informed Ms. Grant that she would be given the title of Vice President of Operations within the Talent Relations Department. However, days later, McMahon backtracked and said there would be a Director of Operations instead to avoid suspicion of sudden promotion to Vice President. Okay, all right. Scrolling. She began working directly for Laurinaitis, and the sexual stuff kept going. All right. On May 24th, McMahon messaged Ms. Grant to remind her that a mistake could destroy her career and that she should pursue verbal communication rather than written where possible. So here's another text message. He said to her, "Those compliments will keep on coming, baby. Just wait and see. I totally understand and agree being scared of communication and photos. Johnny gets drunk and sloppy. He could easily make a mistake that could cost him his job and yours too. Verbal communication is the way to go. That said, have you and Johnny talked about breakfast tomorrow?" And then she responded, "We haven't." I don't know. I can't read that. Okay. All right. I'm scrolling. Some is just getting into details about what I already read to you guys. Okay. All right. This is the last part that I'm going to read. This is about the trafficking part. WWE star and famous worldwide as a top talent with WWE with a large collective fan base that helps generate viewership and drives in-person attendance, all in which WWE and McMahon. Upon information and belief, McMahon began to recruit WWE superstar for a sexual encounter with Ms. Grant while she was still a coordinator in the legal department. By July 2021, McMahon informed Ms. Grant that this WWE superstar would be her next playmate. In other instances, McMahon described his fantasy of seeing Ms. Grant engaged in unmerciful sex acts with this WWE superstar, which he would rip her open. McMahon also confided to Ms. Grant that he wanted to have WWE superstar under a new contract, while the superstar indicated an interest in a return to other professional endeavors. On or about July 12th of 2021, McMahon directed Ms. Grant to create personalized sexual content for the superstar. McMahon shared the photos with the superstar and then informed Ms. Grant that he likes what he sees. On July 21st, 2021, McMahon flew or caused the superstar to fly on a jet onto a local airport and travel to Connecticut across state lines, for which McMahon described to Ms. Grant as a business dinner, as well as a sexual encounter with Ms. Grant in McMahon's condo. Upon information and belief, the dinner was to discuss the superstar's continued involvement with WWE prior to the business dinner. The superstar made a brief visit to Ms. Grant's building. However, the superstar did not return to the building for a sexual encounter because he was too intoxicated. Later that evening, after McMahon recounted the story about his dinner with the WWE superstar to Ms. Grant, he sought to salvage the night with the request that they role play a sexual encounter in which McMahon acted as if he were the superstar. McMahon was so physically rough with Ms. Grant during this encounter that she begged him to stop, including crying, "Help, I'm scared and I'm serious." He pinned her, penetrated her, fisted her, pulled her hair, pinned her, shoved her, open palm slapped her. McMahon's assault caused Ms. Grant to break down, weeping, and curl into a fetal position with her arms pulled up to protect her face. McMahon alternated between slaps and shoves before admitting, "I'm really effing up with you right now," and left. McMahon forbade Ms. Grant from leaving the condo that night unless she could verbally assure him that there was no problem and everything between them was okay. On August the 26th of 2020, WWE held its second biggest annual event, SummerSlam. Around this time, McMahon and the WWE superstar privately reached an informal agreement about his return. That night, McMahon texted Ms. Grant, reminder that she was an enslaved object to him. I want to drive you lower and lower, so low that you might beg me to sell you. McMahon continued to advertise the encounter with Ms. Grant to WWE superstar during the formal negotiation. And here's the text. Here's what he said after I told him that part of the deal was fucking you. LOL, that's your turf. She will be ruined after me and leave your ass. Plus, after me, your tool won't fit anymore. In December of 2021, McMahon gave Ms. Grant's personal cell phone number to the superstar and promised she'll do anything requested of her. In the days that followed, the WWE superstar revealed a fetish to Ms. Grant and tested McMahon's promise that Ms. Grant would do anything, and that would she send a video of herself urinating. Unable to recognize herself, Ms. Grant went numb and obeyed. The WWE superstar informed Ms. Grant if she had not complied with the request, he would have lost any interest in her, and then he called her a bitch. The same month, the WWE superstar expressed to Ms. Grant his desire to set a play date. However, a snowstorm changed his travel plans, and Ms. Grant ultimately used the weather and COVID as an excuse to back out. Okay, I'm going to stop there. The next section talks about how his wife found out, and that's when he made her sign the NDA. I'm going to stop right there. Y'all. Again, thank you, Tracy, for getting me that. I don't think a newspaper article would have I don't think an article would have done that justice. And what I mean by justice, I think you guys got a good picture. The fact that she does have text messages, and she again, these are all allegations, but I'm gonna say the same thing that I said about the Diddy and the Cassie thing. She's very specific about dates. She's very specific about people. She's very specific about what in the world. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to, for some reason, my screen is off. Give me a second, y'all. Why is this thing? Okay, hold on. What in the world? I'm sorry, y'all. This thing is tripping. Okay, give me a second. I'm screwed up my whole screen. Okay. I had screwed up my whole screen. I was trying to figure out what in the world was going on. Okay. 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 She got dates, times. Yeah, she's got, I mean, she blacked out the names in those text messages, but the names are there. And just like ranting with Ricardo, somebody who is a fan who follows WWE knows exactly who these people are, knows exactly what the situations are, because they're very specific. SummerSlam of 2021, this WWE superstar was trying to like, it's very clear who these people are, even without her actually saying their name. And I just feel like for an attorney to take this case, it goes back to the Diddy thing. Again, these are all allegations, but it goes back to the Diddy thing. For you to be that specific, you open yourself up to You know, you done brought in, I mean, she done brought in about 3 or 4 other people, right? Even though she's not naming them by name, you know who these people are. It don't take a rocket scientist. Hell, I could Google and it would only take me about 10 minutes to come up with who she's talking about. SummerSlam of 2021, this WWE superstar trying to re-sign. Like it don't take a rocket scientist to connect all of these dots, right? And her employment would be documented. When she got started, was that a made-up job? Did that job exist before she got there? What did she do? Who did she report to? I mean, all of that stuff is documented. You understand what I'm saying? It looks like this happened over a span of 2 years because it started in 2020 and it was over by 2022. And when I mean over, I mean, I'm sure for her that was a long 2 years, but it looks like this went on for a 2-year window. Did she ever get that salary? She was making $75,000 a year. So yeah, she was getting a paycheck. Yeah, she was getting regular paychecks. That was her starting salary, was $75,000 a year. Yeah, Ricardo, 2019 to 2022. Okay, 2019. I said 2020. All right, 2019. I would have to go back. Let me see. Let me go. Oh, I already closed it out. But yeah, I read the beginning date. Maybe it was 2019. But 3 years. I don't know if it ever said how old she is. Hold on. Give me a second, y'all. Let me go back to the document. I don't know if they ever said her age, but I may have scrolled past it. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, thank you, L Love. L Love just sent me a cash app. She said for reading that long, for reading all of that. Thank you, my love. I appreciate you, L Love. Thank you so much. Where's Tracy email? Oh, there it is right there. Hold on, y'all. Let me see. I don't think it said her age, but let me just double check real quick. Let me look at the beginning. Janelle Grant. Introduction. The two met. Yeah, it was 2019. The two met in 2019. I don't think it ever says her age. Let me just look real quick. Let me see if I can scan it. I don't think it ever says her age. Yeah, I don't see anything that says that indicates her age. I don't know. She began. Yeah, she first met Vince McMahon in 2019. You found a picture of her, Ricardo? Can you inbox me on Instagram? I don't want to post it on here. You saw 34? Okay, so she was 34. Okay. That's about right. 34. She looks young. Vince had to step down as chairman while the feds and WWE investigated. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. The Cassie lawsuit showed people that there's less stigma in coming forward. And like she said, there's more than just her, which I believe. Because again, this isn't the first time we've heard. Well, this is the first time I've heard about Vince. Yeah. If this video goes, if YouTube doesn't monetize this video, I'm just gonna put it on members. If they don't monetize it, because that was a lot. And I tried not to read all of it as explicit as it was, but I still wanted y'all to get the idea. But if they don't monetize it, I'm just gonna put it on members, you guys. So if y'all can't find it, just know that's why it's gone. It's on members. So if you're a member, you'll be able to go back to it. This has settled so much the government had to fine WWE. Wow. Oh, hold on. Let me go into my Instagram. Okay. Where is it? It's not showing me. I just accepted it. I mean, I just accepted you, Ricardo. I don't see a message from you. I don't see a message from you. Oh, it is right there. There it is. Oh, that's her. She does look young in this picture, though. Where'd you find this picture, Ricardo? Where'd you get the? That's her. Where'd you get the? Where'd you get this picture? Brock Lesnar. That's who Ricardo said that they're talking about. She said they're talking about Brock Lesnar. That's what she said. It's on her Twitter. Okay. Floating around Facebook, wrestling dirty. She's okay. I just wanted to make sure it was somewhere public because I don't want to put it up here if it's not somewhere that people can just find it. All right. I'm going to show you guys her picture. Thank you, Ricardo. Thank you, sweetie. So I'm gonna just show you guys a picture of her. Again, it's public. It's on her Twitter, so it's public. All right. I didn't want to put it up here if it wasn't somewhere that was public. So okay, that's her. Can y'all see that? That's her. That's her. Yeah. Yeah, she is pretty. She is pretty. But she does look young in this picture. I mean, that doesn't mean that's. I mean, I don't know what year this picture was. Oh, it's in the New York Post. Okay. Well, I mean, they used her government name, so I mean, it's only a matter of time before somebody will find a picture. Um, Dolores just posted Vince McMahon settles lawsuit with former WWE referee Rita Chatterton over 1986 RAPE allegations. Her story was sad too. She just got almost $19 million lawsuit. Yeah, again, I didn't read the whole article, but I remember that story. Yeah. Y'all, this isn't, I mean, listen, like we always say, this is a civil lawsuit. This is not a criminal lawsuit. And we know that the only remedy in a civil lawsuit is monetary. So it will be interesting because the statute of limitations isn't up on this. I mean, this was just 2 years ago. So, well, I can't say it isn't. It shouldn't be. Um, so I'm not sure if anybody will pick up any criminal charges. But it'll be interesting to see if this goes and where this goes. They wiped the referee from WWEF history after what happened. I bet they did. $20 million later. They alleged trafficking, abuse, etc. Okay, wait a minute. This is becoming a pattern with Vince. He retired in 2022 while the feds and WWE investigated him because he paid for employees tens of millions of dollars. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't remember all of the details, but I remember that this isn't the first. This isn't the first accusation. Yeah, He stepped down in 2022. Brock wife Sable sued WWE for harassment and settled and continued to work for them, and now her husband is involved. I don't. Who is Pat Patterson? Lord, y'all gonna take me down the whole WWE rabbit hole. Who's Pat Patterson? I wrote the name down. Ricardo told me about Ashley Massaro. Hold on. I did write it down, but let me make sure I got it. Yeah, I wrote it down. Ashley Massaro. Yeah. I remember Pat Patterson, and I remember something allegedly happened with Roddy Piper. Now, I used to love me some Roddy Piper. Oh, no. Not Roddy Piper. I used to love him. Damn. Although in hindsight, I can't say I'm surprised. I can't say I'm surprised about none of this. I mean, all right, you guys, we getting ready to get out of here. Please, if you haven't already hit the like button, please hit that like button. Like I said, if you can't find this video after tonight, it's in membership. Right now it is on yellow. Right now it's on yellow. Yellow means limited ads. If it stays on yellow, or if it stays on yellow, or if it goes red, then I will put this in membership. Right now, I will put it up for review. YouTube will let me send it for review. So I'll give them, a little while to review it. And if it stays yellow, I'm just gonna put it on membership. It is sensitive in nature. It is a lot of, explicit stuff. So I will put it up for review. I will request the review, and if it stays yellow or red, then it will be in membership. So if you can't find it tomorrow, then you know where it is. Yeah. Well, YouTube has, when you monetize a video, YouTube has a tier system. So they have green, yellow, and they have red. Yellow is limited ads, meaning I don't make as much money off of the video. Green, full speed ahead. Yellow, I don't make as much money off the video. Red, I ain't gonna make no money off of the video. So yeah. So I'm just letting y'all know, because there was a lot. I mean, and as I was reading it, I was like, this is a lot. It's a lot. And I'm sorry that, wow, I'm just sorry. That's all I can say. I'll keep track of it as best I can. I am going to look up some of these other people you guys are talking about. Moolah pimped the girls out and kept the money. Moolah, I remember that name. Well, you remember how bad things were with, back in my day with Macho Man and with his wife, what was his wife's name, Ricardo? Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. What was his wife's name? Elizabeth. Remember, we thought it was a skit. Well, at least as a kid, I thought it was a skit, only to find out years later that it was not a skit. And that man used to beat the hell out of that woman. And he was a drug addict, and it was a mess. Miss Elizabeth. I remember that, Miss Elizabeth. Who? Thank you, Dolores, for becoming a member. I know about the fabulous Moolah. I'm trying to put the name. Y'all, listen. But I didn't know that Moolah. I'm thinking these things are skits. You know what I'm saying? I don't follow it like that. I didn't know that these people were real. Wow. Dark Side of the Ring. Is that a documentary? Hold on. Put my pen. Hold on, y'all. Y'all sending me down a whole rabbit hole, and I'm about to go right down into it. Hold on. Okay. Dark Side of the Ring. Is that a documentary? And where can I find it? And y'all said Ashley. What was that last name again? Ashley. And then what was the other name? Pat. Let me scroll up. It's a docu-series. Where can I find it, y'all? Yeah, Jimmy Superfly Snooker. Yeah, she was an addict too. Yeah, I remember she got. Yeah, that's right. She did get with Lex Luger. I remember that. Massaro. Oh, it's on Vice. I remember Vice. I probably can find it. I'm gonna look for it. I'm sure I can find it somewhere. Because Vice is gone, but I'm sure I can find it somewhere. Chris Jericho. Ain't Chris Jericho the one that didn't he unalive himself and his family? Or no, that was Chris Benoit. That was Chris Benoit. It's on Tubi. Y'all gonna make me go back over there to Tubi. Oh, it's on Hulu. Hulu. Let me write Hulu. Hold on. Let me look right now while I got y'all on the line. Let me look right now. Let me see here. Dark Side of the Ring. Dark Side of the Ring. Yeah, I think it's on Hulu. Yeah, it's on Hulu. Let me see. Let me look at the episodes. Match Made in Heaven. Oh, there go Randy Savage and Elizabeth. That's episode 1. The Montreal Screwjob. Bret Hart. The Killing of Bruiser Brody. Oh my goodness. Look at all this stuff. Lord, they got 4 seasons. Oh, there go Chris Benoit. Season 1. Oh, Lord. Okay, hold on. The Last of the Von Erks. The Mysterious Death of Gorgeous. The Fabulous Moolah. I'm going to have to look at that one. Because I knew who she was, but again, I didn't know it was true. I thought it was just like her act. Oh. Y'all done made me fall down this rabbit hole. Season 2 is Chris Benoit part 1. I've seen Chris Benoit. I saw this one. I saw the Chris Benoit one. That was so sad. Jimmy Snuka. The assassination of Dino Bravo. I remember that name, Dino Bravo. Cocaine and cowboy boots. Ooh. One man's fanatical attempt to build a wrestling empire to rival Vince McMahon. Okay. Oh, the Road Warriors. I used to love the Road Warriors. I used to love the Road Warriors. I'm going to have to watch this. I saw the Chris Benoit one. I don't know why I didn't see none of the rest of these. Because I know I saw the Chris Benoit one. No, I didn't. I was going to tell a lie. Oh, the Ultimate Warrior. I remember him. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. In the Shadow of Grizzly Smith. Having survived abuse at the hands of their father and the mysterious abduction of their sister, Jake the Snake and his siblings struggle. Oh my gosh. Good Lord. These people have been through some stuff. Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on, y'all. The Many Faces of Luna Vachon. Well, the steroid trials. Well, we know about the steroids. All right, that was season 3. What was on season 4? Chris and Tammy. I remember Magnum TA. Junkyard Dog. Adrian Adonis. I remember him. Bam Bam Bigelow. You know, it's taking me right down memory. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm ignoring y'all. I'm just ignoring y'all. Okay, listen. Now I'm gonna look at the Moolah one, and I'm probably gonna look at Randy Savage. I ain't saying I'm gonna look at every single one of them episodes. No, but there's a really good documentary on Andre the Giant. I watched a few years ago. I don't remember the name of it, but I'm sure if you Google Andre the Giant documentary, it'll come up. I should watch which one? Still Small, Big Voice. Which one should I watch? Kevin Vonner is still alive. Grizzly Smith was a horrible man. Oh my gosh. All right, I might have to just watch all of them. I ain't watching all of them tonight though. But I'm definitely gonna watch it. The Fabulous Moolah one. I don't know about tonight, but I'll probably watch it before the weekend is over. You met Andre the Giant? Ooh, I'm jealous. I'm sure they do, Dolores. Dolores said all these stories have sex, drugs, and Vince. I'm sure they do, child. A review gonna follow the Moolah one? It probably is. Probably. All right, y'all. Let me get off of here. Once you start, I'll be hooked. Like I said, I saw the Chris Benoit one. I saw part 1 and part 2. I don't know when I watched it. I just remember seeing it. I remember watching it because I used to watch Vice. So I'm wondering if I just only watched that particular one because of the topic and not realizing or not putting in my DVR the whole series. I don't know. What super chat, Tracy? I didn't even see it. I'm sorry, boo. Wait a minute. I didn't see it. You know, I haven't been looking at the screen a lot. Hold on. You found a new show to review since Love and Marriage. Us feelings or no. Child, look, I'm definitely going to watch a couple of these episodes. Now, I ain't saying I'm going to watch every single episode now. I ain't about to tell y'all that lie. I ain't saying I'm going to watch every single episode, but I'll probably watch a few of them. But somebody said once I start, I'm going to keep going. Grizzly Smith. Hold on. Let me write down that name. Grizzly Smith. Child. But we definitely going to talk about Moolah. Hmm. 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 It's a mess. All right, y'all. Let me get off of here. I need something fun to watch. I need something light. I can't do Moolah tonight. It'll be too much. I can't do Moolah tonight. I'm about to watch Traders. I'm gonna watch Traders, and then I'm gonna watch either the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or the Real Housewives of Miami, honey. I need something light and stupid. Seriously, all jokes aside, I need something light and stupid. Watch Sunny. Sunny who? Nefessa said, please review the Moolah one. Okay. Brian Pullman. Y'all gonna have me watching all of them before. The name of the show is The Dark Side of the Ring. It's on Hulu. It's about wrestling. They're all good, even if you don't know the wrestler. Yeah, I don't know about that, Kenya. I don't know if I can't do SVU tonight. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I ain't doing it tonight. I'm about to watch Traders. And when I get done with Traders, I'm gonna watch something else stupid. I don't know what it is, but it's gonna be stupid. That was heavy. Like, I'm serious. I might I don't even know. I was gonna say I might put some of those text messages on members only, but I don't even know about that. Like, it was explicit. Some of that stuff was explicit, y'all. Like, think about what I read, y'all, and imagine what I skipped. It was quite nasty. And the thing is this, I'm just leaving it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. Sunny was a wrestler persona back in the day. She was sleeping with HBK and British Bulldog while on the road with her live-in boyfriend, who was a wrestler. Oh wow. Oh wow. Tacoma FD is fun. I'm traumatized. I'm sorry, Cub Star. Sunny just got arrested in Florida, so yeah, I will watch her too. Damn. Okay, Sunny. Let me write down Sunny. Sunny. Is that the one Sunny Vaughn? Was it Sunny Vaughn something? Let me just write Sunny. I'm probably going to end up, like y'all said, I'm probably going to end up watching all of them, child, by the time it's over with. Watch The Golden Girls. She's in prison for 17 years for driving drunk and causing a fatal car accident. Rock accused HBK of being racist. Well, That sounds about right. Thank you for the super chat, L Love. Thank you for the thank you for the Cash App, L Love. Thank you for the super chat, Tracy. Thank you for the new membership. Thank you guys for being here. If you please make sure you hit that like button. We should be over 100 likes. If you're new here, please subscribe. We're like 5 subscribers away from hitting 15,500 subscribers. So, why not do it tonight? Why not do it tonight? Like I said, I will keep this video up if YouTube, keeps, depending on what YouTube does. If y'all see it disappear, then y'all know where it is. If y'all want to, for whatever reason, may want to go back to it. Again, the lawsuit is 67 pages long. We stopped at like page 40 something. So please know there's a lot more that we did not go over, but I think y'all got the gist of it. I don't really think we need to go no deeper than where we went. Okay. Why not tonight? Would thou be saved? What you talking about, child, please? Why not tonight? What, babe? What you talking about? I don't know what you mean. Why not tonight? Song in church. Oh, song in church. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was like, why not tonight? What? I was like, I gave y'all all I got tonight, baby. I am spent. I was going to try to do some reviews because I'm so far behind. Well, I ain't go so far behind, but I still ain't done the Bell Collective, the final Bell Collective. I still haven't done Ready to Love. And then of course last night, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Real Housewives of Miami. I'll get caught up this weekend, but tonight I don't know. I ain't got it tonight. Tonight I'm about to watch some Traders. And like I said, something else stupid. Anyway, I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. And I will talk to y'all later. Good night. Thanks again, Tracy. I really appreciate you. I really, really do.